If you've ever thought, who am I to do this? Or what if no one cares? You're not alone. I felt that way too many times in my business, and the most recent is when I launched the Profitable Small Business Club. But I want to tell you, you don't have to be confident to take action. You just have to show up even when you're scared. In this episode, I'm going to share the messy, honest process of launching something new and the powerful mindset shift that kept me moving forward. Let's dive in. Are you that driven entrepreneur who believes that working harder holds the key to your dreams? Are you drowning in the day-to-day tasks, wishing you had more time to strategize and cast the vision for your business growth? Hi, I'm Donna Dubé, your guide on this entrepreneurial journey. I've walked in your worn-out shoes, burning the midnight oil, convinced that sheer hard work was the secret to success. Just one more email, one more task, until I found myself on a one-way track to burnout. But here's the twist in the tale. I discovered that success isn't just about working harder, it's about working smarter. It's about being intentional with our time. It's about steering our ship with focus, because no team, system, or automation can outperform a lack of direction. In this podcast, I'm sharing with you all the strategies for business growth that it took me years to learn. If you're ready to step out of the daily overwhelm so you can amplify your profits, then I'm ready to teach you. I believe the only limit to your business growth is the one you set for yourself. Go grab a notebook, warm up that cup of tea, and let's do this. Hello and welcome back, small business owners. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different because we're doing a little bit of a mindset shift here. And today I want to talk about fear. Yeah, fear. It shows up for each and every one of us. And if we're not careful, it can keep us stuck right where we are. It can keep us dreaming instead of doing. One of the biggest lessons I've learned in my business is that fear isn't a stop sign. It's more like a speed bump. You feel it, but you keep moving forward anyway. When I first started creating and marketing the Profitable Small Business Club, I had plenty of those fear-based questions swirling around in my head. Who am I to give advice? Will anyone even really care about what I have to say? It didn't matter that I had years of experience helping small business owners set up systems and grow sustainably. That little voice of self-doubt, it was persistent. It was definitely there. But here's the thing, and it's something I want you to remember. I reminded myself that I've walked the same road with my clients, that my clients are on right now. I know what it feels like to be overwhelmed, unsure, and just searching for support. I know I could help them because I had been there, figured things out, and found solutions. I really do enjoy this quote by John Acuff. I think it's from his book Finish, but he says, "You don't have to be confident. You just have to show up and do the work, even when you're scared." And let me tell you, I showed up scared more times than I can count during this process and this journey of being an entrepreneur. There were moments when I questioned everything. The emails, those emails, they don't get the response that you hope for. The tech issues, the tech issues would make me want to pull my hair out. And the countless times I asked myself, is this really worth it? Will this even work? But I kept showing up, doing the work, even when I wasn't sure of the outcome. And over time, things started to click. And here's something I realized along the way, and I hope this sticks with you as well. We often think that success comes from confidence. But confidence is really just a byproduct of doing. It's not a prerequisite for action. It's actually the result of showing up, taking those small steps, and learning along the way. If I think back to the days when I was homeschooling the kids, It's the same thing that they went through, right? When they were little, they weren't confident with math. They wanted to push math aside. We'll do math later, maybe tomorrow, procrastinating it. They needed to do it. It's not a prerequisite for action. The result is showing up and taking the small steps. They needed to show up every day and do the math that I set out for them. And when they did that, they became more confident as they learned more about the subject. Did they make mistakes? Of course. Are we going to make mistakes? Of course. But we keep showing up and keep taking those small steps forward. Now listen, I'm not claiming wild overnight success. I'm not rolling in millions or checking every box on my bucket list. But I've built something meaningful. I've built something that I'm proud of. Something that can help other business owners grow their business too without burning out. And the only reason I got here was because I was willing to do it, scared. Now, let's talk about how fear sneaks up into your business decisions. Sometimes it's loud and obvious, right? And it's asking questions like, what if I fail? What if people judge me? But other times, this fear is more subtle, and it can show up as procrastination or even perfectionism. Maybe you spend weeks tweaking your website to try and make it quote unquote perfect, instead of just launching it. Maybe you keep brainstorming content ideas, but you never actually hit publish. If this sounds familiar, I've been there too. One of the biggest mindset shifts that helped me move forward was giving myself permission to start messy. I didn't wait for everything to be perfect because spoiler alert here, perfection doesn't exist. When will that content idea be good enough, be perfect enough to publish? When will that website be perfect enough? It won't. Perfection doesn't exist. So when fear or self-doubt creeps in, our big goals, they can feel very overwhelming. And that's why I like to say to myself and to my clients, start small, but start today. I want you to break that dream you have down into the tiniest possible step and just do that. Don't worry about the next and where it's going to go and what people are going to think and how it's going to. No, focus. Focus on what that tiniest step is and just do that. So here's a practical example I can remember from my own experience of building and launching the Profitable Small Business Club. And for me, the idea of marketing it just felt massive. I sat for a long time wondering, how am I going to communicate the value of something that doesn't exist yet? For me, that was really daunting. So instead of trying to tackle everything at once, I tried to take my own advice and I focused on one small task at a time. So one day it was writing a single email. Another day it was outlining part of the sales page. And little by little, those small actions added up to something more tangible. Momentum builds confidence, and confidence keeps you moving forward. But that momentum can't start unless you take the first step. I remember another thing that held me back initially, and this was the thought, who am I to give advice? Maybe you've had that same thought somewhere along the way. It's easy to believe that unless we're wildly successful or we have decades of experience, our voice doesn't matter. But let me tell you, you don't need to be the world's top expert to help someone. Your past experience, your perspective, your lessons learned, they matter. and someone out there needs to hear and to have what you offer. Now listen, I'm not a young spring chicken anymore, right? I've been around the sun a few times. But let's be honest, the first 20 so years or whatever of my life, that was character building, right? But those years taught me something important. My years of experience taught me how to make habits, how to build systems, and how to thrive even when the chaos feels overwhelming. So no, I'm not checking every box on my bucket list, but I've lived, I've learned, and I've gotten good at solving problems and bringing strategy. And that is valuable. And what you bring to the table is valuable too. One last thing I want to share here is that you don't have to do this alone. Starting and growing a business can be very isolating, but there's support out there. You just have to find it. So whether that's a community, whether that's a coach or a resource that you lean on, I want you to find that support and I want you to use it. And know that if you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed or that fear is building and wants to take over, I want you to know I'm in your corner. So whether it's replying to an email or sending me a DM on Facebook, I'm here to cheer you on and to help you figure out that next small step. Okay, before I wrap up, I just want to go back to that little advice I had earlier. Start small, but start today. Don't try and tackle everything at once. Break your dream down into the smallest possible first step and do it today. So if you want to create a new habit, start with just 5 minutes a day. If you've got a big project that's looming there in the back of your mind, identify one tiny task you can complete now. Like starting the first sentence of that first email, or organizing the tools that you're going to need to make it happen. Don't wait for the perfect moment because it doesn't exist. Momentum builds confidence, and confidence helps you keep going. Here's what I want you to take away from this episode. Doing the things scared is the first, the third, the 16th, the 23rd step toward your goals. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just need to start. And if you're looking for some support with this, I'd love to connect with you. Send me a DM on Facebook, reply to this email, or check out some of the resources I have available. The links will be in the show notes. And while you're at it, why don't you go and see what the Profitable Small Business Club is all about? Keep going, my friends. You've got this. Okay, I'll see you all next week. Thank you for joining me on this episode of CEO Amplify. I appreciate you being part of our thriving community of ambitious business owners. If you enjoyed today's episode, I kindly ask you to share this podcast with a friend and take a hot minute to rate and leave a review. It would mean the world to me. Your feedback helps me reach more people and continue providing valuable content. Thanks so much for your support. Keep shining, and we'll catch you on the next episode.